AI is not a rescue plan for a messy business. If your customer journey is unclear, your follow-up is inconsistent, and nobody owns the handoff, AI will just make the confusion happen faster. I see this a lot with SMEs and even bigger teams across Asia. They buy the tool first, then ask what problem it solves later. That usually means the team is already overloaded, customers are already waiting, and the business is already leaking value after the sale. In my opinion, the better question is not what AI should we buy, it's which part of our customer flow is repeatable, visible, and worth improving first. Once you ask that, the whole conversation changes. You stop chasing shiny features and start building something that actually helps growth. Most companies think the growth problem begins at acquisition. It often doesn't. The leak starts after the customer says yes. If nobody follows up properly, if service replies are slow, or if the team forgets what the customer already bought, you end up spending again just to replace value you already earned. In ASEAN markets, that can be especially painful because customers usually have plenty of choice and very little patience for repeated mistakes. A bad post-sale experience doesn't just hurt repeat revenue, it hurts referrals, reviews, and trust. And once trust drops, marketing gets more expensive. So, yes, growth matters, but retention is usually cheaper than reacquisition. That's why strong customer experience is not a soft idea. Remember, it's a practical operating lever that protects margin, improves lifetime value, and reduces pressure on every future campaign. Before you automate anything, map the customer journey in plain language. Where does the lead come in? Who qualifies it? Who answers the first question? What happens if the customer needs a quote, a renewal, a refund, or a complaint handled? A lot of teams can't answer those questions cleanly, and that's the real blocker. AI is not the starting point. Visibility is. Once the flow is visible, you can see which steps repeat every day, which ones need judgment, and which ones simply waste time. That's where the opportunity lives. In a real business, not every touch point deserves the same level of automation. Some steps are low risk and repetitive, others carry trust, money, or reputation. If you don't separate those, you'll either automate too little or automate the wrong thing. The safest AI wins usually sit in the middle of the workflow, not at the emotional edge. Think summarizing customer conversations, routing tickets, tagging intent, drafting follow-up messages, and pulling together a quick next step for the team. Those jobs are repetitive, but they still matter. They consume time and they slow response if humans do every single one manually. For a regional team, that could mean a support inbox in Singapore, a sales follow-up queue in Malaysia, and a distributor request stream in Thailand, all getting handled with different levels of speed. AI can help standardize that, but only if the task is clear and the inputs are decent. If the wording, data, or ownership is messy, the output will be messy too. So start where AI can reduce friction without making promises to the customer it can't keep. There are moments when speed matters less than judgment. Refund disputes, contract changes, emotional complaints, pricing exceptions, and high-value accounts need a human who can read the situation, not just the text. In Asia, that matters even more because trust is often built through relationship, tone, and responsiveness. If the customer feels dismissed by a bot, you may not get a second chance. That doesn't mean AI has no role. It means AI should assist, not replace, where the cost of a bad decision is high. I'd rather have a slightly slower answer that protects the relationship than a fast answer that creates escalation. This is where a human-in-the-loop policy is not bureaucracy. It's risk management. It protects revenue, reputation, and sometimes the deal itself. One of the quietest failure points is dirty customer information. Incomplete profiles, inconsistent product names, broken website forms, missing FAQs, and outdated contact details all confuse AI before it even starts. If your website says one thing, your CRM says another, and your support team says a third, the system has no solid ground to work from. That's why data hygiene is not a back-office chore, it is a growth requirement. I've seen teams try to layer automation onto a website that doesn't clearly explain what the customer should do next. Then they wonder why the AI responds badly or why the handoff fails. The machine is only as useful as the structure around it. Fix the basics first. Clean forms, clear service options, consistent names, and obvious next steps. That's what makes automation trustworthy. The best AI programs don't start with a grand launch. They start with one use case, one owner, one metric, and one clear review point. That's it. For example, you might begin with lead qualification or support ticket summarization or renewal reminders. Pick one workflow where the business already feels pain and where the outcome is easy to measure. Then test it with a small group, observe what fails, adjust the process, and only then expand. This staged approach matters because it reduces risk and builds confidence. Teams in Asia often have to balance speed with control, especially when multiple markets, languages, or business units are involved. A controlled rollout gives you room to learn without disrupting the whole operation. It also forces accountability. Someone has to own the result, not just the demo. Once AI starts helping, governance becomes the difference between a useful system and a risky one. You need to know who approves what, where the model can answer freely, where it must escalate, and how errors get corrected. Without that, teams start improvising. One person trusts the assistant too much, another ignores it entirely, and the business ends up with inconsistent service. Good governance doesn't slow you down if it's designed well. It creates confidence. It tells the team what the boundaries are. That is especially important in enterprise settings, where a small mistake can become a bigger reputational problem across branches, distributors, or customer segments. If your policy is simple, visible, and tied to business risk, people will actually use it. That's what turns AI from an experiment into an operating habit. Here's the part leaders sometimes underestimate. Customer experience is not separate from growth, it is growth. When response times improve, when customers feel remembered, and when support is consistent across channels, people buy again more often. They also complain less publicly and recommend you more freely. That matters in Asia, where many businesses grow through relationship networks, repeat buyers, and word of mouth as much as through paid acquisition. So, when AI helps the team follow up faster or route a request correctly, it is not just saving labor, it is protecting revenue. It's also improving the customer's memory of your brand. The customer doesn't care that you used AI. They care that you answered clearly, solved the issue, and didn't make them repeat themselves 3 times. That's the real payoff. If the team is exhausted, the workflow is probably broken. Burnout is not just a people issue, it's an operational warning light. When staff are drowning in manual follow-up, repeating the same answers, and cleaning up avoidable mistakes, service quality starts to slip. Then AI gets rushed in as a shortcut, which usually creates more problems. Better to read the signal early, ask where people are losing time, which handoffs are causing frustration, and what work could be standardized without stripping out judgment. I've seen employees spot the issue before leadership does. They know when a process is too heavy because they're the ones living inside it. If you fix that load, you don't just protect morale, you improve consistency, speed, and adoption, and that makes the AI rollout far more likely to succeed. For Asia businesses, the playbook has to fit the market reality. Many teams serve customers across WhatsApp, Line, Zalo, email, marketplaces, and branch networks, often in more than one language. That means one generic AI workflow is rarely enough. You need a system that can route by language, channel, and risk level. You also need to respect local expectations around service tone, response speed, and data handling. For a founder-led company, this is not just about efficiency. It's about reputation. If AI helps standardize service across branches or markets, that is a serious advantage. But only if the rollout is localized and controlled. Don't copy-paste a Western workflow and hope it fits. Build around how customers in your region actually buy, ask, complain, and renew. That's where the real value comes from. Here's the rule I'd keep on the wall. Fix the workflow, then add AI, then scale only what proves useful. That order matters. If you start with the tool, you'll likely automate confusion. If you start with the customer journey, you can improve response time, service quality, retention, and team workload at the same time. That's the kind of change leaders actually need, not a flashy demo, a working system. So, if you're planning an AI rollout, begin with one customer path, one owner, one metric, and one human escalation point. Keep it simple. Measure the result and expand only when the process is clean. If this helped, subscribe for more practical strategy on AI and growth. And comment workflow below if you want the solution reference for how to choose your first use case. Hope this is helpful and see you in next video.